Okay, Discord critiques. So up first, we've got Thomas. It's an album post here. It's a Mech. I don't know if there's anything in particular you want me to critique on. It does feel so. You're definitely in the texturing phase, right? It does feel like it's still quite primitive in the shapes that you're using. Doctor Strange. Derp, what's up, man? Doctor Strange is like, if I had the chance as a kid, I would have watched this sort of thing like Saturday morning cartoons. Dude, I would have loved to be on TV doing this type of stuff. But I mean, I would have been a kid, so that would have been weird, right? Anyways, so what I'm saying here is I feel like a lot of the details are kind of missing certain certain levels of detail in some areas. Like right here, this is feeling pretty good. This area right here feels pretty good. Um, Thinking about the ratio of when it's too much detail and too little detail that we were talking about earlier. Megapole, what's up? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Um, so you have these big flat areas. That's great. Key areas where you can add some detail. Let's get into that real fast, and then we'll move on here. Um, Wherever you have a lot of stuff connecting, it's going to be really good for getting details in. We'll use a friendly green color. So areas like these areas, or like where these pistons connect, definitely check out the size of these feet, because right now it's very top heavy, and I feel like these legs just can't support it. Like these need to be bigger, right? Then thinking like these areas could have a lot of detail, and then this area, and maybe this area, and then you're probably pretty good. That's probably all the high detail that you need. Yeah, the legs are just a little too thin, especially where the feet are. Dude, this music is making me yell. I can't do it. Midnight Summer. I gotta do that. Some Neon Knox. Oh right. Let's keep going here. But in general, I think this is looking pretty good. The dirt and mud approach here. Where's it at? Where's that button? I'll load that up and we'll talk about that in a second. Just remember, when you cake on that much mud, there's still gonna be areas of exposed ground, unless it's like that burnt kind of smoky burnt metal where it gets blasted with a black. All right, let's do this. I'm going to open up someone's file. So Andreas, I asked him if I could use this. He's one of my current mentees. So when we look at those types of details, let's go somewhere around. Let's do this really fast. So let's look at dirt. What's the dirt doing here? Not a lot. All right, where am I? Glass, plastics, black metals. So those areas. So when you're caking on a lot of dirt, you want to be careful that you're not going too crazy with it. Let's just do this. So if we have all this asset, right? I'm just gonna put a flat color on here, and we'll just make it kind of like a gray, and then we'll add another one, and I'll just say this is the mud. So this one's mud. Color wise, we'll just give it something. We'll go pretty brown with it, and then we'll remove everything except the color and the roughness. So roughness wise, let's diffuse it quite a bit, as the other surface under it is going to be pretty reflective. And with that mud, let's look at smart masks. And if you look, there should be like a surface worn rust ground dirt. So dragging that on here, you can see like It is pretty heavy, like yours was down here. But you can see it still kind of breaks through. And let's see what else we can do here really fast, and then I'll move on. Let's do height. Why not? And we'll raise this up just so you can see the dirt kind of building up. Now, the mask, if I alt click the mask, you'll see that it's got some mid ranges in there where it's kind of gray. Usually I would suggest doing something like contrasting that. So contrast, global contrast, you turn that up, you're going to get much less of the gray range in there, which is going to result in a cleaner separation between the materials. And you probably just want to make sure it's a little softer in that height map. And then this will have its own roughness, right? So maybe, let me see if there's any like dirt or rust maybe. I'll just put rust on this. And then in the rust color, we'll just make this more, it's like, yeah, no, that's mud, right? Yeah. Normal intensity, sure. Yeah, just make sure you're not caking it on so it's like really thick, too far up the legs of your mech. If you can, add some story to it, if that makes sense. All right, sorry, little tangent. Let's discard that. Get back to the mech. Okay, next up, good old George's. Where is this? All right, so this is work in progress. So just some like quick thoughts on it, I guess, is what you're looking for. So this is nice that you've kind of got this set up. You're thinking about, looks like trim sheets, which is good. If we scroll up here, sorry, I'm just going crazy. I'll just drop this in chat for you guys. Right now, lighting wise, the lighting angle is not really showing the scene off as much. You've got a lot of depth behind these pillars, or at least a little bit of depth currently behind the pillars. Having the light going up a little higher and onto the pillars will have these pillars pop from the background, allowing for that depth to be more realized. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. All right, so it looks like you started with an exterior, and now you're kind of working on the interior stuff. Man, that's really strong. What is this one? This is a day ago. Cool. Yeah, think about how you can separate all the materials out, because if they're all made out of the same stuff, then it's really going to be about where things are anchored on the pillars, like either candles or chandeliers hanging, and the base of these having props around them. Just things to ground them that are a different color or a different value compared to just the bricks. And then I would really push the light, like make that light quite a bit brighter and get the GI bouncing around really nicely in your bakes. Should be pretty helpful. It's looking cool though. This stuff's really promising. All right, so next up we've got a camera from Noctro. Polition. I'm gotta be saying that wrong. Anyways, so camera here. Hey, how you doing, man? Here's your reference. Very nice, dude. I appreciate that you've got your reference. You're like holding it. You physically have it in your hands. So I think if you look at the roughness here, this is the thing that's popping out to me first. The roughness here and the roughness of yours, there's a very clear, distinct difference between the two. I think yours is just a little too, it's not rough enough. It needs to be a little bit more diffuse. Right now you're getting highlights that are on the peaks of these details, whereas like the highlights, well, on the peaks are quite a bit broader, and like the whole surface is kind of has a bit of the highlight on it. So it's like, man, I closed it. Why did I do that? Dang it, guys. Dang it. I'll have that running in the background as it covers up my screen. Thanks, Substance Painter. Come on, man. But I think you know what I'm saying. I just want to see if I can replicate it. Maybe there's a good sample. Sure, we can go with the toad. It's probably going to choke the stream for a second when it loads. Not too bad. Well, yeah, shadows are... Okay, we can keep the shadows. We'll turn the subsurface off, and yeah. No displacement, of course. So I guess this is... Oh, wow. That, let's turn that off first, huh? I always forget where this is at. That is a shiny frog for show. There it is. Post-processing. All right. So we've got this detail, right? Let's go ahead and turn the shadows off too. And you see this is... Oh, this is perfect. So you can see how the highlight is quite sharp. So and that's just a matter of going in and making sure that... trying to find where the base... Is it the base? I bet it's the base. Yeah, so... You can see it's pretty reflective, right? But if you can lower that down, you still get the highlights, but you can see how much more diffused it is. That's kind of what you're looking for, I think. You don't want it too... You don't want it too crazy. Let me turn all these off so we're just not getting any interference. Especially if you bring it into like an outside environment. Let's see here. Yeah, this is probably a better environment. So you can see like you're still getting that information, but you don't want to. You want to make sure it doesn't blow out at the high points. I think you'll get a much softer look. It's like a super reflective. You want. Yeah. Feels good. Anywho, all right. I'm gonna leave that up just in case we need it again. This, but it's looking pretty good. That's my quick reactions on that. The details here look pretty nice. Nice, you got the crown there. Yeah. Overall, it looks good. Let me see the back here. This is pretty soft, and then they've got this like smaller details here. Yours are pretty soft. That's good. This right here feels a little bit like geometry. I'm not sure what's causing it. It's either the width of the bevels or it's the roughness value that's on there currently. The overall image, though, is strong so far. Nice job. All right, so fast concept. There's a message here, and I'm not getting it, but it's interesting. So cheer. Or is it cheery? Cheer? I'm not sure. CHIRRE. I still got to paint the leaf as well as a connection between the grenade and the ladybug. As a very small grenade. But this is art, yes. No, I agree. I think the way that the shell is kind of tearing right now, it's telling me that it's coming out of it. It's coming through it from inside. I would definitely... These are actually more flexible than you realize. I would suggest maybe like having it bend and fold more. Like it's kind of doing it here, right here. I would do that a little bit more instead of like this kind of tearing. I mean, you want to get really, really crazy with it. I would actually suggest taking the grenade and giving the grenade some thickness, right? Like it's round like this. And then it is a ladybug, but you know when it gets ready to take off, the wings come up, and that's like it's been activated. So you can imagine those flying around by like the hundreds, landing on people, and they're like their goal is to kill that person, right? So like when they're flying around, they kind of look like they've got a little light on them, and when they land, if a camera was really close up, when the wings fan out again, you see that the entire inside of the body is basically with this. Like that's, think about that. And if the explosion was quite substantial, you could just one of those land on your arm and blow your arm off. Like, it's the real deal. Anyways, this is pretty cool. It's interesting. I'm curious what your message is with this. Think about the range too. So if we bring this in here, we'll just shrink this down really quick. I always do this. I'm like, why? Why is it shrinking that way? Right now, if you look at your histogram, you're not really utilizing much of the higher range. So like bringing this up, probably in the highlights is going to be where you want to do it. So I'm just going to duplicate this, and we're going to go into the highlights. Some of that stuff, right? And then let's go to the midtones, but lower it quite a bit, and we'll just kind of bring those up. Right there. And then there's the shadows. So we take the shadows themselves and push those down. So when you look at it, when you press Control L and you see we're getting a little bit of a hit here, you want, hang on. You want this. You want something like this. I'm trying to get the perfect. It's difficult. I'm doing this with a mouse. There you go. Something like that. That's a good balance of information. Now this can get a little wonky if you have like a black background, right? So maybe it'll shift a little bit more over here. But you want to make sure that you have information all the way throughout the scene. And those highlights, treat those like the high fidelity detail that we were talking about when modeling and composing geometry. The highlights are smaller but present, maybe 30% of the image when it comes to highlight. Maybe a little less than that. Because I wouldn't necessarily say that it directly applies the same way, but it's kind of like the same thinking. All right, so Jason, my modular environment project built in Unreal. Where are we at here? Oh yeah, this is looking pretty cool. I love that, just seeing another language. It's cool to me. Built in Unreal, let me know what I can do to make it better. It's a crime scene set in Hong Kong where the police had arrested some people for unknown reasons. That's an interesting light back there. That's kind of scary. Okay, so let's grab this image. We'll bring this into Photoshop. Oh, that's pretty. I'm just going to make a new one. There we go. I'm going to kill this so we don't lose memory, right? Ashton, after I look at this one, I'll answer your question, man. So this text here, I would definitely like go along the lines of like, oh, right. Gotta kill that smoothing. There we go. So take that text out and then take this and hang on, did I put that on another layer? Yeah, cool. Let's just do. So if you have the text larger like this, it's gonna read better. Mainly because when you think about it, when you have warning tape in English, the word warning or like restricted is the large single word. So it's like, it's quick to read, especially from a distance. So doing something like that would help quite a bit, I think. And then the other thing is maybe like the the composition of the scene really requires the focus that it looks like you're trying to push on it. So when I see what you're trying to have me focus on, I do this. So if I levels this out and then crush this, that's the focus, is this area right here, right? So if I undo this and then we go Control L and I bring this down and then bring the lights up, you can see now that there's a bit more, the focus has been pushed a little bit further. Maybe we want to go in between them a little bit. I really love this red wall. This light, I feel like is there for a reason, but I'm not sure why. This is a crime scene as well, so I kind of feel like we need to see what looks like maybe there was a deal going on at the table. And then one of the guys like got up, right? So his chair flips back. And then maybe he grabbed another chair and he threw it as the other guy was getting up and started shooting. So then he shoots this guy. You see some bullet holes hit this pillar. There's maybe a few spatters of blood on this pillar. They're going to be really small, so you might not even put that there. And then that guy, he leans over. He grabs this chair, trying to catch himself. That chair tips over, and then you put the outline of the body on the ground, because it's a crime scene, right? And then you outline the body, the chair's to the side. There's like the bloody handprint on the chair because he was just to show that he had grabbed it, and then a puddle of blood, maybe where the guy had bled out. That's telling a story, right? And I don't know that this is a crime scene other than the tape. So it's like getting those intricate details to kind of like get the viewer to look at it and go, oh man, what happened here? And be able to dissect it themselves. This coffee is really good, man. And the other thing too, I guess, is the ceiling being open like this. I'm not sure why it's open. Maybe they're tapping into something, like maybe the network for the building is in here. So if this is going to be open, it should be open maybe for a reason. It's like either the place is run down or they pull the wires out and then you've got like a laptop on here that they're plugging into the network. So, okay, so sorry, I'm going to grab Ashton's question real quick here. The red sign should probably affect more of the room. I feel like it's a bit brighter from it. Yeah, no, I agree with that. This stuff back here. Like, it's weird that we're not seeing like a red highlight on this pillar. If you see something like this. But yeah, no, I agree with that. There's some red over here too. Yeah, it's hitting there. I guess you'd expect maybe more of the red to be on this and maybe along here. I don't know. It's hard to tell where it's casting from. Right now, it looks like it's pointing this direction. And I feel like it's probably should be pointing more this way. It's going to hit a lot more things and kind of draw a little bit more interest. The question above, though, where is it? There it is. Okay, Ashton. 2 quick questions. Have you done any work like sci-fi spaceships, like Star Citizen ships? No, I have not. And do you have any tutorials on how to start modeling sci-fi ships you can recommend? I mean, if you go to the command, so that's like a resource hub that we have. But I would join the Discord, like not even kidding, because there's a bunch of people in there doing stuff that you're talking about. Some of the stuff I'm going to be working on in the near future is very, very much more like sci-fi, cyberpunky type shapes. I will show you a quick preview. So this is me learning Blender. And so getting shapes like this is going to be something that we'll be doing a lot of. And like how to how to connect things, doing cables and wires and stuff, and like how to get a lot of detail without going crazy with it. And then a lot of the Star Citizen stuff, there's actually a tutorial that maybe someone can drop in chat for you that shows their technique for how they do decals. But yeah, definitely look into joining the Discord, or even just looking at the Empire command. There's a ton of resources in there. It's just crazy. And if you're in the Discord, there's a lot of people in there that have not only a lot of experience, but there's also people in there that they're in the thick of learning, which is actually when I think people are at the peak of like information flux. They just know where things are at online. Yeah, look at that. Flying Flamingo, come on, man. Every time. Fly away, Flamingo. Not flying away this time. Dropping the link. Thanks, man. Face weighted normals and I want to say terrain decals, but lots of decals. Do you think Blender will take over the industry at some point? I wouldn't say it'll take over the industry, but I think it's about to take a decent chunk out of it. I think it'll be up there with Modo at least. 5 to 10 years from now, I wouldn't be surprised if 5% of the games industry was using Blender. Maybe a little more than that, and that's pretty big. All right, let's look at the next piece. Where are we at here? Oh yeah. So this is pretty exciting, man. All right, so we're gonna start at the very bottom here and just kind of see what you're working with. All right, man, this kind of reminds me of walking through this one area in Rome. This is great, separating out the elements. So, okay. Very nice, strong block out. This looks really good. I think, so when I look at this type of stuff, I'd be hesitant about making these shapes too similar. Just because you can just use this shape and rotate it to get this one. You know what I mean? Like, you can get away with it enough. So like if you could do this one, but then take a big chunk out of this, so that occasionally you can swap to this one instead of this one. And maybe this one has like a smaller block here and then a longer one, so it's not perfectly square either. Getting a bigger difference between these is gonna be good. Like same with these pillars. I'd actually think that it would be best to have a tall one, this one, and then maybe this one's shorter, and then a piece that you can lay down on the ground next to one of these whenever you want, so that you're getting that variety. I mean, it's fine. It's just like you're gonna find that why would you use this piece when you can just use this one, right? Whenever you would place this one, for example, and you're like, well, I have the other one I can place too. Like, there's not really a reason to place this one, so then it's like you're making another asset that you won't use, you know? So they should all be pretty different from each other and kind of serve the same purpose when it comes to building a wall or like an embankment, or kind of like this stuff here. Yeah, I wonder if there's, okay, so it's 10:53. I might come back to this just to show you some stuff. Oh, this is cool, man. So, okay, let me go all the way to the bottom here. Some concepts, yeah, shows this concept. Cool. Let me look at the concept again. So it's interesting because this concept's actually kind of difficult to make it more interesting than the focal point. So let's see where you're at if we go to the very top here. Because like visually, I think if you were to if you were to take this image and take these elements here, right? I'm just gonna. All right, this is gonna be messy, and I apologize, because I'm just gonna like rip your art up doing it. So if I grab these, paste that, and then let's grab this one separately, scale it up, and do this. And we'll take this one and scale it up, and do that. And we'll reframe again. And then take these and use these to separate. So we go to like maybe midtones, bring this brighter a little bit, and then behind it, we go in and we start to maybe I'll dupe this and then lock the pixels. Separating out the background from itself a little bit, because then you're getting some more separation and some depth to it. Because like with that stuff gone, like it becomes it's flat, right? And the focus is here, where I guess you could do this and maybe even like. Man, I don't even know if you need that smoke. Just taking these elements. Go even further back this way. And this one even further. And then doing this. Dupe it, and then we'll do that. And then erasing. So it's still getting a little bit of light. But you can see like how compositionally it's just a little bit more, you want it to be a little bit more engaged in the depth, if that makes sense. What is this layer? Man, you know what's really fun is doing this stuff for you guys. I've gotten better at conceptualizing, if that makes sense. Like being able to like do paint overs and stuff. Yeah. Oh man, that feels good. But you can kind of see how like you just get a little bit more depth out of it. Obviously, there's some dupe patterns. You can watch out for those. But yeah. Is it Maki? So Maki has been working on a scene here. This one. We're almost done. So, oh man, saxophone time. Why is he building an ice wall in a cafe scene? Amazing. So there's some story going on here. It's kind of hard to visualize this scene because there's a lot of information happening. I guess it's like it's difficult because you'll see spaces that are like this in real life, and they are very busy to the eyes. I might suggest lowering the contrast of the pattern on the wall, or lowering the contrast of the pattern on the rug, just so that it's easier to kind of visualize the space. The other thing you might do is the door frames. Maybe those should be this color, maybe. And then think about what can go on the ceiling, right? Maybe there should be like those light domes that are kind of on the ceiling. But remember to think about how stuff is where it is and the depths of it. So like paper is flat, right? But it curls, so it can curl and bend and stuff like that. So having paper that's curling on the wall or like paper that's kind of curled up on the ground, paper behind this doesn't work for me. Like it just doesn't, that can't happen, right? Unless they put the paper and then they hung this up and then they put this hat there that is pitch black, I think, right now. So that needs some material information. This edge is really sharp. You can, oh, my watch says it's 11. You can do some pretty good stuff with, this is like our example box of the century. Let's do this. So doing stuff like that will automatically, oh. I'm like, why? There it is. Just simple cuts like this, totally worth the investment. Cause like, look what it does to the edge, right? Like that just little ding in the shape, like gets it away from the being so hard edged. I'm getting faster at this, guys. It feels good. Anyways, yeah, so you get I think you get the idea. I'm like sitting here trying to clean it up. I don't need to clean this up. What am I doing? It's fun though. I like doing that stuff. I don't know why. How are the Booleans? The Booleans are amazing. We'll look at that another time though. Because we got one more piece to look at. Oh no, two more, sorry. We got Jamie Reed 3D. This material. Dude, this reminds me of the pirate game. What's a pirate game called? This looks great though. It's not too busy, it's not too noisy. There's a lot of information going on. Maybe the contrast of the highlights is a little too bright. Sea of Thieves, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, Sea of Thieves. Like Moto amazing? Yeah. Yeah. I think if I had to say anything about this is maybe bringing in a complementary color that's in the crevices to kind of add to the overall color palette that you've got going on here. But the choice for the color that you have on the edge here it's ace. If I had to say anything, maybe the roughness of the nails could pop the nails out just a little bit more, but I think when it becomes stylized like this, you got to be a little careful with like how metal something becomes. You don't want to get too metal, if you know what I mean. All right, Mario, buddy. So you've got this huge scene. That's terrifying. That's a lot of explosives. I'm sure you're on some type of watch list now because of that search. But, oh, this is looking good. That is a big table. I would love a table that big for streaming. So this is all looking pretty nice. Man, lots of modeling work. Ooh. Just gonna scroll through all this stuff. And overall, I think the details that you're working with are looking nice. Oh my God. That's a lot of information, my friend. So all this stuff is really cool. It looks like this is taking you quite a while. Oh my God, wait. I'm just gonna slow scroll. This looks great. Nice material definition, nice material separation. Leather material versus this kind of, I don't know what this is, like a plastic. And then you got metals, some rubber materials. Some nice variation in the roughness too. Nice job with the tape. That's an interesting, how'd you go about doing the tape? Was that just, you just extruding around and then you thickened it? You should do tank interiors. Mario, you should talk to Bumby. Not even kidding. Talk to Bumby. You won't regret it. Nice materials here. These, like this area kind of looked a little odd, but looks better down here. Wow, that got dirty. That got dirty fast. So, okay, I'm gonna go to the last image and see where you're at with stuff. Looks like you're still modeling things. Materials look really nice. Your weights on like how wide things are and how round things get is really good for game art. Because it allows you to see the information still. So like slightly exaggerated if you want to call it that. Man, this is really good stuff. You should be talking to Decagon as well. This looks good too. Oh man. I'd be curious to hear about the way you're approaching materials. There's some nice stuff in here. This isn't even that expensive, considering like the details that you're pushing through it. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, talk to the Decagon guys because I think they could benefit from having you working with them. Wow, look at those scratches. You already are? I mean, it kind of looks like Decagon stuff. Like, it's got that kind of, you know, Decagon has this very particular texture going on. Yeah, all this looks really good, man. I don't know what you want me to say. Oh, this is nice. From an artistic standpoint, I would probably add like a little metal panel thing that you can slide a piece of paper in to say like what that drawer is. That'd be a nice little touch because then you can add like a manila piece of paper inside just to get some different color in there. Holy Christ checks, man. That's some serious, some holy cereal. Okay, well, I mean, I don't have too much to say. Oh, that looks great. Yeah, Mario, we should talk on the Discord about your texturing workflow. I bet people would love to hear that. I'd be curious as well. I mean, it's really interesting. And like how much you're modeling and baking versus texturing, and then when it comes to texturing, your approach is probably pretty interesting. But dude, I don't have much to say on that. I'm kind of curious what the final scene looks like currently with what you have done. That's about it. But that's it for the critiques. I got to get out of here, but there was, give me a second here. Let me save this and then new. So Pinion was asking about Booleans. So let's just select this guy. How's that? Or this one. Do the best part. Look at that. What the hell? It's good, man. Yeah, if you drag down, it'll do that. But if you like drag out, oh wow, hang on. Yeah, if you drag out and go down, it'll go down. But if you drag out and then just click, it'll just go all the way through. And it's all based on your angle too. So like if you're on the side here, doing this way. And you can move the camera around while you're dragging these out. So like if you need to, if you're doing this, you can. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, you can drag these out and then like do this, and then if you press V, right, you do your instancing, and then you can press like the axis you want to be moving on. So if I want to be going down this surface, I can scroll to add more, and then if I press B, then I can bevel those edges and scroll, and then move my mouse to change the bevel. Look at that. And then I can grab this and then click. Oh. Oh. So hot. All right, guys. I will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good weekend. If you're in Sweden or anywhere that celebrates midsummer, enjoy your midsummer tomorrow. And I will see you guys. I will see you guys later. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh yeah, PS, that's not default Blender. That is called Box Cutter. Let me link it for you guys. Hang on. There you go. All right, cheers, guys.